Hello and welcome to today's special session within which we'll be hearing from Midlands Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust, bit of a mouthful, otherwise known as MPFT, which is a lot easier to say. So we, as in Wellington, initially implemented Project Server within MPFT back in 2017, and more recently we helped them to transition to the more modern Microsoft Project for the Web solution. So I'm Baz Kinder, I'm the Commercial Director of Wellington, and I've been involved in Microsoft PPM solutions and PMOs generally since around 2007. And today I'm joined by my friends at MPFT and Microsoft UK, who I'll invite on to say a quick hello. So Laura, you're first up. Would you like to say hello?
Thanks, Baz. Hello, everyone. My name's Laura Marklew. I am the Planning and Assurance Manager within the PMO at MPFT.
Thank you very much. Jack?
Hi all, my name's Jack Gould and I'm the Senior Digital Project Manager for the Trust and help to project manage the implementation of Project for the Web.
Thank you very much. And last up, Andy from Microsoft.
Thanks, Baz. It's Andy Willis from Microsoft. My role in the team here at Microsoft is a project solution specialist, so here to support any questions from the Microsoft side.
Fantastic. So without any further delay, let's take a quick look at today's agenda. So I'm going to be starting off with a brief intro to Wellington before Andy and I then provide an overview of Microsoft Project for the Web to really set the scene and explain where it fits in within Microsoft 365 and who it's intended for. After which Laura and Jack are going to take over to outline who MPFT are and the journey that they've been on to implement Project for the Web and the benefits they've realized so far, as well as the lessons that they've learned along the way, whether they're positive or negative. And importantly, they'll also be providing a live demo of their PPM solution, so definitely stay tuned for that. And before we wrap up, Andy will discuss the future roadmap for the latest version of Project, and I'll be sharing details of the NHS-specific build of Project for the Web that we're launching, and I'll also be telling you how you can sign up for a bespoke demo alongside a free envisioning workshop. So don't go anywhere, and let's get into it now. So we are Wellington, and our promise to you is that by taking up our services, your project and portfolio management capability will be improved, and that is a money-back guarantee. And we've been around since 2001, and we've got offices in the UK, Ireland, Spain, and India. And as you can see, we've managed to collect quite a few accreditations over the last 20 or so years, and in particular, we're a Microsoft Gold partner with the project and portfolio management specialization. And we offer a wide variety of services that span consultancy, technology, and training. The focus again being on helping our customers to improve their PPM capability. You can of course read more by going to wellington.co.uk. So please do follow that link and take a look through the website. And just before we do move on to today's topic, here's a small selection of our customers. Quite an eclectic mix of organizations, as you can see, and I'm really proud to say that we've supported a number of NHS trusts over the years, and there's quite a few case studies available on the website. So again, follow that link and take a quick look. Okay, so that brings us on to Project for the Web, and the first question on your minds might be, well, what is Project for the Web? What is it? What does it do? And that's a great question, and simply, it's the latest version of Microsoft Project, but in Microsoft's own words, it's Project Reimagined, and it's been built around user feedback, really to provide a better fit for the majority of teams that are looking for a modern collaborative solution that's available inside of Microsoft 365. And it offers a number of benefits. You get access to the latest features, and there's an extensive roadmap in place, which Andy will be presenting a little bit later. Besides that, you also get access to a very modern user interface compared to Project Desktop, and I've often described it as the love child of Plan Around Project Online, and I say this because it provides scheduling capabilities similar to traditional Project, but with a much slicker user experience like the one you get with Planner, but I'd personally say it's slightly better. It goes above and beyond what you can do in Planner. And lastly, Project for the Web also offers integration with Microsoft 365 groups, making it much easier to collaborate with team members, especially as it embeds within teams. And the new project, it's designed to be extended. And for this reason, I often describe Project for the Web as being a bit like a Lego set, because you can extend it to do more than simple task and resource scheduling, which is basically what you're getting out of the box, as indicated here by the green elements that you see displayed on the screen. But if you layer on top the wider Microsoft Power Platform, you get a solution that's enterprise and PMO ready, and that's what we've built. It's a solution called the Accelerator Plus that's used really as the basis for all of our Project for the Web implementations, and there's more coming up on this topic a bit later, but for now, I'm going to hand over to Andy so that he can outline Microsoft's vision for Project for the Web and where it fits in against some of the other apps you can access in Office 365. Andy, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Baz. So I think just building on what Baz was saying there, what our vision for this particular product, we launched it a couple of years ago, and it's really enabling kind of work management across the organization. So enabling teams to work in the way that they want to work, but making sure enterprises get the results they need out of these systems. So the idea being able to update one view, but it's updating, in different views as well. So really and truly what we're trying to do is make things a lot easier for people. And one of the things we're going to talk about today is maybe even embedding this in Microsoft Teams and connecting to the rest of the Microsoft platform. Microsoft have a number of different work management tools, so I just wanted to kind of touch on this very, very quickly. For the information worker, we have things like Microsoft To Do and even Microsoft Planner, which are kind of more the kind of work management tools. We're going to focus on kind of Project for the Web today, which you can use it in its simplest form without the accelerator for doing things like Gantt charts and planning work and doing things. But as you start getting into things like portfolio management and those areas, we're going to talk about using kind of Project for the Web with the accelerator. Now Microsoft have got one we've kind of delivered as part of you can download, but what we're going to show here today is what can be done with a bit of simple configuration building on that system. And Wellington are actually launching their own accelerator now, enabled for the NHS as well. So this accelerator you can literally kind of plug into kind of Project for the Web, and we're going to show you how you can use it for enterprise work management. And I think some of the kind of big key benefits here are you can start utilizing the platform. So potentially you can start embedding this in Microsoft Teams if you wanted to. And you can even have your Office 365 users now being able to complete work that's assigned to them with just their Office 365 E3 or E5 license. So this is a real kind of game changer, enabling work management across the organization. So I just kind of want to share this kind of quickly with you and set the scene before I hand back over to Baz and the team.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Andy. But now we're going to peel back the curtains for the main event today, which is really hearing from Jack and Laura at MPFT and share with us the journey that they've been on. So what I'm going to do is quickly switch my slide deck. And Jack, what I'm going to do is give you control.
Okay, thank you very much, Baz. So hi everybody, it's great to be here today to talk about Project for the Web. So as we mentioned, we've implemented this within MPFT. So my role was as project manager, and Laura was involved in the project and led on many of the PMO elements, making sure all our policies and frameworks were aligned. So in terms of what we're going to run through today, so we've done some introductions, and we're going to talk about why Project for the Web was implemented within the Trust. We're going to talk about where and how it's used. We're going to discuss the benefits that the system is intending to bring with it. Laura's going to do a bit of a system demonstration, so looking over some of the key features that we use within the Trust. Then I'm going to talk about how the change was managed and how we implemented the system, and what lessons were learned during the implementation, as well as some next steps that we're going to be looking at internally. So now I'm going to hand over to Laura, who's going to talk a bit about why Project for the Web was implemented.
Thanks, Jack. So just to begin for you, just to provide you with a bit of background on our trust, who we are. As we said, we're Midlands Partnership University Foundation Trust. We have a wide service user population of about 1.5 million. We provide physical and adult social care services across Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent, mental health, learning disability services across Staffordshire, as well as Shropshire, Telford and Wrekin. We've also got more specialist mental health services across the country, including perinatal eating disorders, forensic services, and we deliver out of area sexual health services, and our inclusion service offer psychological and drug and alcohol services, both in community and prisons. So as you can tell, we've got a wide range of services and a diverse population of service users, and we currently employ about 8,500 staff. So our PMO was established in 2015, and we implemented Project Server, as Baz said, through Wellington in 2017. And we used that for about 5 years in conjunction with Microsoft Project for project planning. So just moving on to some of our drivers then to move away from Project Server and why we moved to Project for the Web. As I said, we used Project Server for about 5 years, but over that time, really, we hadn't made any significant changes or updates to the system. And as such, the user experience had become quite poor, limited functionality, and our project teams were unable to get as much out of the system as they were putting in. So little useful or reliable reporting capability. Also, towards the end of Project Server's life, there was some significant risks of system downtime and some server failure and security risks as well. Back to you, Jack.
Thanks, Laura. So now I'm going to touch on the business need and how that links to our digital strategy. So our digital strategy 2021 to 2026 has 15 digital themes that all link back to our mission statement, which is enhancing care through digital innovation. Now, the Project for the Web implementation links primarily to the connectivity, performance and security theme. And it links to this because the performance and security of the project environment would improve once hosted by Microsoft in the cloud. And also the collaborative working would improve as well, allowing colleagues to work on documentation at the same time and reducing the need to send documents back and forward between people. Additionally, it also links to the remote and agile working theme. And it links to this because it allows for connectivity to the project environment from any device, anytime, anywhere, as it's accessible over the internet, whereas previously our Project Server environment was only accessible internally. And as you can see, I've got a quote from Martin Perry, who's our Director of Digital Transformation. So this was pulled from our digital strategy, and it says, where budget and system support allow, we aim to migrate our servers to cloud solutions with high availability, disaster recovery, and data backup processes in place. So this is a general ambition of the Trust to get a lot of our systems into cloud-hosted environments. And back to yourself, Laura, for the PMO delivery plan.
Thanks, Jack. So there were drivers through our PMO delivery plan as well as the digital strategy for moving away from Project Server into Project for the Web. So we really needed to review and cleanse the data within Project Server, as well as undertaking an audit of our current projects to ensure compliance with our methodology and PMO framework. We really wanted to maximise the capability of Project Server, our project system, and ensure that we've got robust dashboard reporting, as well as ensuring our policies underpinned our project delivery mechanisms, and again, our governance was robust. Back to you, Jack.
Thank you. So now I'm just going to quickly run through what the objectives were of the project. So an objective we had was to improve the availability of PMO data for stakeholders. We wanted to improve productivity from that collaborative working on documents that I previously mentioned. We also wanted to reduce data loss. Project for the Web has many areas that have auto-saving functionality, whereas previously we had to check in and out, which had on occasion caused some issues. We also wanted to improve dashboards and reporting capabilities. All the dashboards that we had previously were developed in-house, whereas we've been able to get a set of Power BI reports from Wellington as part of the implementation. Wanted to improve the efficiency due to the faster IT hosting. So as I mentioned, we previously hosted this on-prem, now it's hosted in the cloud. To improve functionality and ease of use across the system. Improving the PMO framework, policies and procedures, and ensuring this aligned with the new system. And to have all project data across the system available. to improve user knowledge and understanding of the system and the associated policies, and implement a user-tested project environment. So it was important to us to make sure that users were involved through our UAT elements of the project and that their feedback was taken into account. And then consolidating the project management systems and removing dual running costs of having Project Server and Project for the Web and moving solely onto Project for the Web. Okay, back to yourself, Laura.
So now just to look at where and how we actually use Project Server, Project for the Web, sorry, now that it's been implemented. Project for the Web is used trust-wide for all of our formal projects managed through our PMO framework. So currently that is 9 programs of work with 61 underlying projects. We use it for both clinical services projects and for corporate projects, and our core project user base is around 60 people. So that's predominantly project managers and project support officers. Our biggest user group is our digital project team, who have quite a wide range of projects they use the system for. We also have a wider user base of project owners and sponsors that we hope to expand use of the system to enable them to self-service real-time reports and information. So Project for the Web is our single PPM tool for all of our projects and all of our project tools, including project plans. Now that that is integrated in Project for the Web, we no longer use Microsoft Project. Since going live, we have had multiple requests from various users to use the system for smaller projects and non-project work. So it's our hope that we can continue to customise and develop Project for the Web for those purposes, to give our colleagues both a tool to manage their work and provide us with a more holistic overview of the work going on in the organisation. So just moving on to the benefits that we see through Project for the Web. We measured our benefits before we started the implementation, and we'll be reviewing and remeasuring those 6 months post go live. And we did that really through a user survey, understanding people's previous experience with Project Server, and also through service desk tickets for things like the availability and downtime of the system. So just to run through what we see as the benefits for our teams: greatly improved functionality for users, as well as Jack mentioned, flexibility in ways to access the system across different devices, that improved availability of the system and data, and improved dashboards and reporting. Improved collaboration for project teams, particularly through the integration with MS Teams, as Andy mentioned, as well as some reduced licensing costs compared to Project Server and Microsoft Project. So ultimately, we see Project for the Web as enabling more successful projects and, importantly, outcomes for our patients. So now we're just going to do a brief demonstration of the system. There we go, you should be able to see that now, hopefully. Really, so just to give you a sense of what the system looks like, this is our MPFT environment, a Project for the Web that, as we said, Wellington customised and developed for us, just to give you a sense of what the system looks like and how it operates. So to begin with, on the left-hand side, we have a navigation pane, a sitemap where we can access all the different areas of our system. Important just to note that Project for the Web provides us with the ability to not only view individual project information, but view information across all of our projects and across our programs. So first of all, I'm just going to show you our pipeline area. So this is a place where we can enter all of our upcoming projects, a separate area where we can hold that pipeline of work before those projects are necessarily approved. So this gives us space to enter some general information about our proposed project, as well as enter some basic project mandate information to start to understand what that project is about. You'll see on the bottom of this screen we have a PMO use only section. We'll see this throughout several different areas of the system, and this is really to enable PMO to monitor and manage that governance process of approval in the system. Project for the Web also gives us the ability, as I said, to view programs of work. So here we can see all of our active programs that we have. It gives us space to enter some general information about that particular program, some finance information which is aggregated from the individual projects sitting underneath the program. Gives us space to enter our RAG rating or KPIs for that program. And importantly, it shows us all of our projects then that are sitting under that particular programme. Gives me a link there to go into each individual project, so navigation around Project for the Web is fairly intuitive and easy to move between different areas. And what you can see now is an individual project, so every project in the system will appear like this. It gives us some basic project information there at the top of the screen in terms of the project, project manager, etc. And a really key piece of new functionality for us is this life cycle, project life cycle you can see across the top of the screen. At each stage in our project life cycle, we have a checklist which has been customised for us and which can support our project teams to understand all of the elements that need to be completed at each individual stage of the project. It also provides us with an automated flow feature, enabling our project managers to complete their checklist, run a flow, which then will send a message to PMO to review that governance and approve moving on to the next stage of the project. As I mentioned, this is now our single PPM tool, so we no longer have any other elements that we use outside of Project for the Web. We no longer have any Word document templates we have to complete. And what you can see here at the top in these tabs is over all of the project information. So we have a summary tab that gives us some of our basic project demographics and then starts to gather information from other areas of the system, such as the project plan, highlight reports. We have bespoke forms created in here for us, so our project brief tab, for example, which is essentially our PID document. And these also have PMO approval sections on as well. The system automatically pulls information from different areas, so the project mandate that we looked at in our pipeline, all of the information entered at that stage will auto-populate in here and can then be updated. We have tabs for financial information. We have a project log tab, which is essentially a daily log. And as I mentioned, functionality in the system is really clear. For the most part, everything is a click of a button to add a new entry and a simple form to populate. Project plan functionality is built within the system, so again, no more needing to use Microsoft Project. It offers a simplified user interface compared to Microsoft Project, but still able to enter all of your core information that you would be used to. And as well as being able to view in this kind of Gantt chart format, it gives you the functionality to look at board views, timelines, as well as charts, and by individual people as well. Moving on to RAID logs, as you can see there, we have a risk, action, issues and decision logs. These screens look fairly similar. And again, it's simply a click of a button to enter information onto a form, and you can see it's showing me previous entries there. And just to note, with some of these screens, you can see on the left-hand side in the sitemap that we have a risk section. So if I click on that, what this will then present me with is a full list of all the risks in the system, no matter which project they're assigned to. So for PMO and for program managers, this is a really improved piece of functionality. I can now start to look at information trends across projects. We have some bespoke forms created for us around change of scope and exceptions, as well as what you'd normally expect to see in terms of a highlight report, lessons learned, and a benefits log. Again, with the benefits log, it not only allows me to enter information about that particular benefit, but it also gives me a results log where I can take measurements against that benefit ongoing. And finally, we have a bespoke project closure form. This again auto-populates from other areas of the system, so it automatically populates our objectives that we entered in the project brief, as well as pulling through that benefits information there. Just moving over onto reporting, we have integrated Power BI reports, which can either be viewed through Project for the Web or on Power BI dashboard. And this takes us through a full portfolio overview of all the information in the system, right from pipeline through to individual project status, overall portfolio health, and each of these has a link to individual projects. So again, easy navigation through the system. And then they even pull us information right from task level in the project plans, as you can see here. So I can quickly drill down across all projects into what tasks may be overdue, for example. One final thing just to mention, Shandy talked about in terms of integration with MS Teams. So access to each project is controlled through an MS team. As you can see here, each project has its own team, as well as the normal functionality of your MS Teams, such as posts and files. We've also been able to embed the project for the website into this MS team. And not only can you view the information within the system from this MS Teams window, but I'm also able to edit from here as well. That's the end of the demonstration. So we'll go back to the slides.
Okay, so I'll just regain control. There we go. So next agenda item then is how we manage the change. So what we did was we broke the project down into these 6 work streams that you can see on screen now. So we had the IT config, migration, testing and reporting. We had licensing, server decommission, PMO framework, training and communications. And we had a different person lead on each of these work streams, which helped to define the roles and responsibilities within the project. We use Prince2 to manage our project. So as you can see on screen, we have a number of different phases that basically went from the start of the project through to the end of the project. And we manage a project in stages. So we essentially have gateways at the end of each phase, and we review how the milestones have been completed within that phase, if there's been any potential delays, or if there has been anything delayed, or anything that needs to be moved over into the next phase. And we do these reviews with a panel of senior stakeholders on the call, and then we get approval to either move into the next stage or go back and revisit certain milestones as appropriate. So as you can see, we've got the project life cycle across the top, and the phases that we've got there kind of fit underneath the project life cycle. And we review this on a regular basis in our meetings. Now moving on to lessons learned. So these are some of the positive lessons that we had from the project. So the project plan was well structured, and the milestones were also very well articulated within that. We had dedicated resources on the project. So we had a project team that was able to test, train, create materials and so on. So that was really good to have available to us. Communications were really well managed on the project. So we communicated with users in a variety of different ways. So we had communications that went out via a Teams channel, we had via email, and during the highlight report reminders, communications about the latest updates on the project were included in those. And then we also had various meetings where we got people involved with testing, and also during the training sessions that were led by the PMO, obviously we communicated out about how the system would work, what the go live date was going to be, and so on. The next item was training, QRGs and videos. So this was a very positive thing. We've been able to put these items onto the PMO portal, which links from the project for the website and also within MS Teams. So this gives a central place for people to go and visit if they want to recap or refresher on the training of the system. And then finally, the process changes. So as part of this, there was a large piece of work that was led by the PMO to kind of update the frameworks and policies and processes and make sure they aligned to Project for the Web. And that was a really key thing that was completed on this project. Some of the negative things, so some things that we learned along the way was that we really could have done with a bit more time for scoping and requirements gathering at the beginning. I think because of the amount of bespoke areas within the system, just having that time to properly write up the requirements and go back to Wellington would have been good. Stakeholder involvement in scoping. So although we involved a lot of people in the testing, we, in hindsight, wish we'd have included a few more stakeholders in the actual scoping and requirements gathering elements, just so we could get that feedback earlier on in the project and make sure the system was as fit for purpose as possible. Post go live timeline. So this was just around changes being completed post go live. So what we'd done was we implemented all the items that we wanted into the system. We then went live. Then the issue was that we'd kind of ran out of resource a little bit at that point. So to get any changes done after that was a little bit tricky. So lesson that we'd take going forward is to have more dedicated resource available with the supplier to be able to make changes and have that planned in after go live. Budget for support post go live changes, so that's kind of links to the one above, and that was kind of the reason why we didn't have that in place, was because we were a little bit limited on the budget we had available, and we had some money to work with, but didn't really have an excess of that to go past once we'd gone live. And also licensing permissions. I think from an internal perspective, we already had a number of licenses in place for Project Server, and it was a little confusing in terms of which licenses and permissions needed to be granted for which users. But luckily we had an internal member of staff who was very clued up on licensing and managed to kind of get us to that point of going live. And in terms of the next steps for MPFT, so these are some of the internal actions that we're going to be taking going forward. So we're looking to do a benefits measurement exercise. This is going to be 6 months post go live, which will be around the end of August. There's going to be continued training for wider stakeholders, making sure that we onboard new staff and extra staff that need to be using the system. There's going to be continued reviews of the PMO policies and making sure those align correctly to the Project for the Web system. And then we're also going to be looking at change requests and ensuring that future developments are taken into account via the change control process that we've identified and we're going to use as a trust. There's also going to be embedding of the system and standardized use. So basically trying to make it more of a standardized system across different areas of the trust, making sure that all departments are using it in the same way, so that the information out of it from the reports can be analysed in the same way. A full review of reporting dashboards. So as I mentioned earlier, we took the sort of out of the box reports, but what we want to do is make sure that the reports going forward are tailored as much as possible to our needs going forward. And then potential use for wider range of project work activities as well. So that's things that kind of sit outside of a project. We have other work streams that maybe don't need a formalized project, but could do with the same structure of management around them. So it's, you know, trying to get Project for the Web in a situation where we can use it for that as well. And that is the end of our presentation. So I'll hand back to yourself, Baz.
Thank you very much, Jack. And Laura, that was a really, really great presentation. Really like seeing the live demo in particular. Right, so now we're going to talk about the future roadmap for Project for the Web. And actually, the person who's going to present this topic is Andy Willis from Microsoft. So Andy, you're up.
Yeah, no, again, I just wanted to kind of reiterate, thank you, Laura and Jack. That was really insightful. Mike, we deliver an accelerator, and you know, organizations like yourself have the ability to go and change that and make it your own very quickly. So it's really great to see how that's being used. So thank you ever so much. So Microsoft launched Project for the Web a couple of years ago, and we've got a massive investment in terms of this solution. It's actually built on top of the Microsoft Power Platform, which has come out of the Dynamics world. And we're adding a lot of new capability in here, and we're doing it kind of quite quickly. I'm going to call out a couple of things on this roadmap that we are focused on right now. So one of the features that we recently introduced was the ability to complete tasks with just an Office 365 E3 or E5 license, which is great because it means the project team can assign work to anybody in the organization with one of those licenses and start taking advantage of the Microsoft platform. We're taking that even further, and we're just about to launch the kind of the Assign to Me app, which means basically what you can do within Microsoft Teams or even in Planner if you wanted to. You'll be able to see all your work from the different work management tools like Planner, To Do, and Project in one place, and have a simple task list. Now, for me, that's massive, because if you're part of an organization, you just want a simple task list, all the work that's assigned to you that you can actually work through, and you'll be able to mark that as in progress, complete, and then that updates the project manager who actually owns the whole project. So really, really excited about that, and we're just in the process of rolling that out very, very soon. We've got lots of other stuff coming, things like task history, task conversations. You may have seen very quickly in the demo Laura was doing, goals appearing in project. What's appeared there is local kind of project goals. We've recently added that in there. But we're taking that even further, and we're going to be integrating that with Microsoft Viva Goals. So I'm super excited about this. And Microsoft Viva is Microsoft's employee experience kind of platform, and all our work management tools going forward are going to be integrated with Microsoft Viva. And what does that mean? It means for an organization, if you wanted to, you can actually set your strategy. So these are the kind of key things, maybe it's the 3 or 4 things that an organization wants to be focused on for the senior leadership. And out of that will form a number of objectives and key results, which feeds into work that people are doing on the front line. And the people in leadership will be able to see how much progress is being made against those strategic goals, whilst the people actually doing the tasks will be able to kind of see the importance of the work they're actually doing. So again, it's one of the benefits of the Microsoft platform in the integration, and all this will connect to Power BI. You can embed it in Microsoft Teams, and it just becomes a very kind of connected environment for collaboration. Baz, I think that's about me wrapped up, so I'm going to hand back over to you, if that's okay.
Andy, thank you ever so much. And actually on the topic of Microsoft Viva Goals and goals within Project for the Web and how the integration works, how you can type your strategic alignment against your project, we do actually have an event coming up in September on the topic of OKRs, Objectives and Key Results, and Project for the Web. So do check out the events page at wellington.co.uk for that event. But let's now discuss how we can help you to get a better grip of your projects. If you want to follow a journey that's very similar to MPFT, and you want to get into a position whereby you can manage your trust-wide projects using a combination of Microsoft Project for the Web plus the Accelerator Plus Power App, well, I've got some great news on that front. So we can deploy, of course, Microsoft Project alongside the Wellington Accelerator Plus Power App, which is something that we use really as the basis for all of our implementations, meaning that every instance of Project for the Web that we deploy for any organization always starts live as a standard Accelerator Plus Power App. But recognizing that the NHS is a pretty unique organization, we've created a NHS-specific flavor of the Accelerator Plus that can be deployed and used to manage trust-wise projects. So it transforms Project for the Web from being a task scheduling solution into a PMO and enterprise-ready PPM solution. Now, secondly, the Accelerator Plus for the NHS, as I mentioned earlier, is a typical starting point, and for some trusts, it might give them everything that they need out of the box, but it can be customized to suit your ways of working, and it can be extended as well. The other thing is that the Project for the Web and the Accelerator Plus is deployed in the Microsoft Office 365 for the NHS tenant, which makes it much simpler for users to access, but also from an IT perspective, it's much better because you're only needing to think about one cloud, and that is the Microsoft Cloud. And importantly, the Accelerator Plus for NHS works with native Microsoft licensing. So there's absolutely no need to go outside of your standard Microsoft agreement, which again really does simplify things. So let's talk about next steps. Now, the first thing that I would ask you to do is to go and visit wellington.co.uk/NHS, which is where you're going to find a recording of today's webinar. And you can also go on there and register on that particular page for a bespoke demo, or even book in a free envisioning session, which typically lasts around half a day. And the benefit really of that session is the fact that it enables us to get a much deeper understanding of your current situation. And whoops, just want to bring that up. So it enables us to get a much better understanding of your current situation, your short-term objectives, and even your longer-term aspirations when it comes to improving your PPM capability. And during the session, we can show you the art of the possible, and we can also provide you with a roadmap that breaks down how we'd approach an implementation of Project for the Web or any other PPM improvement initiatives. But for anything else, then please get in touch using these details. So on this slide, you will see details of myself. If you want to drop me an email to talk about the Accelerator Plus for the NHS, all you need to do is send your message to baz.kinder@wellington.co.uk. You can also find me on LinkedIn, with details for which are displayed on the screen. Of course, Andy is also very happy to take questions around the topic of Project for the Web. And Andy, I think you might have mentioned earlier, but he is aligned to the NHS. So if you're an NHS trust and you want to understand more about the licensing possibly, or any other aspects of Project for the Web, then Andy would be a great source of contact for that. And Laura and Jack, they've already been through the journey and they know what's what. They can always provide some great tips on how you might want to approach your journey. And they're also happy to get emails coming through to them, and their email addresses are again displayed. Let me remind you again about wellington.co.uk/NHS. That's the page where you are going to find today's session. And you can also get more details around the Accelerator Plus for NHS on that particular page. And of course, you can register for a bespoke demo or for your free envisioning workshop. So there's absolutely no cost linked to that at all. If you are on LinkedIn, do give Wellington a follow. We share lots of content on a daily basis. We also signpost upcoming events. And this video, amongst many others, do also appear on our YouTube channel, which is available at youtube.com/WellingtonPPM. And whilst you're there, do subscribe and do ding that notifications bell. But from myself, from Andy, from Laura and Jack, thank you very much for joining today. And in fact, a special thank you to Laura and Jack for sharing your journey with everyone on this session today. Again, we hope you found it useful, but thank you very much. And do get in touch if you've got any questions. Thank you.